This is where we run into a really important problem with problem solving, which is if you are listening to this video right now, you've already figured it out, which is that you can't solve all your problems, right? Because, hey, the world is going to hell. Everything is screwed up. Climate change and inflation, all the other crap that I said. I haven't been able to go on a date in 2 years. I've never had a girlfriend. All the men I date are toxic, and all these kinds of problems exist out there, and these are unsolvable problems. And so then what do? We decide to give up. So this is the other problem with problem solving, is if the mind cannot clearly see a path to problem solve, we will go ahead and give up. And that is exactly the wrong thing to do. Because as it turns out, trying to solve unsolvable problems is one of the most useful things you can do. This may sound insane, but hear me out. So I'm going to tell you all a story. So when I was an intern, I had a patient who had stage 4 metastatic liver cancer. So this means that they had cancer of the liver and it had spread all throughout their body. So this person was going to die. And his family would come in every day and they would be freaking out. We'd sort of explain to this person and his family what the diagnosis is. You've got maybe about a month to live, right? It's like one of these bad scenarios. And the family was like, since he's got liver cancer, so the liver is like up here, and then it presses on the stomach. It metastasizes, so it's all in his abdomen and it's his intestines and stomach and stuff like that. So what is he doing? He's not eating. And then the family gets really, really bent out of shape about this. They're like, oh my God, he has to keep his strength up. He's not eating anything. You got to get him to eat. Like, we're trying to get him to eat. He needs to eat. He needs to eat. He needs to keep his strength up. And I'm sitting there in the back and I'm kind of thinking like, bruh, what are y'all talking about? Like, strength ain't going to make a difference. The guy is like terminally ill with cancer. Like, this isn't going to work. And so this was back when I was an intern, right? So this was before I became a psychiatrist. And I didn't realize at the time that we're missing out on something really, really important, which is that when we try to problem solve, there are two mechanisms actually at play. One is we're trying to solve the problem, and if we can fix our external circumstances, then we will sort of get better, right? Our lives will get better, objectively, because we fix something. But there's a second aspect to problem solving, which is incredibly important and has nothing to do with whether the problem gets solved or not. And that is the mental aspect of problem solving. So in the case of this family, what they were doing is doing anything they could. And the cool thing about that is that anything that they can do, even if it's completely irrelevant in the long run, changes their psychology. So if we look at it in the face of unsolvable problems, there are two options. One is we can try to do something futile, and then at least we're giving it, we're trying something. We're giving it some effort that we've got. Or what we can do is give up. And now this is the beautiful thing. When it comes to long-term outcomes and people who use coping mechanisms and stuff like that, there's one big difference, that people who try do way better than people who give up. And so the other really bizarre thing is that frequently when we give up, we also have a cognitive bias at play. And our mind tells us there is no point in trying because we are doomed to failure. But that isn't objectively correct, especially if you look at something like dating or whatever. There's so many people that I've talked to who have said, yeah, this is objectively hopeless. Everything is a mess. Look at all this evidence that I have from the internet and people talking on the internet and people posting things on Shorts and Twitter or X or whatever it is nowadays. And look at all of this evidence. And I have my own experience of trying to go on dates 3 or 4 times. And everyone says, right, because let's remember that the internet is scientific research. Those two are absolutely interchangeable. When we're sort of faced in that situation, we tend to give up. And so I know it sounds crazy, but even in the face of unsolvable problems, I strongly encourage you to give it a shot. And don't worry about your mind telling you this will never work. That's not what we're actually shooting for. When we're trying to solve an unsolvable problem, the goal is not to actually solve the problem, but there's a decent chance you'll make an impact of some kind. The goal is mentally to not give up. The goal is to mentally understand that if you can put forth some effort, even if it's futile, it changes the equation of mental burnout in your mind.
Why, Mr. Anderson? Why? Why? Why do you do it? Why? Why get up? Why keep fighting? You believe you're fighting for something, for more than your survival? Can you tell me what it is? Do you even know? Is it freedom or truth? Perhaps peace? Could it be for love? Illusions, Mr. Anderson, vagaries of perception. Temporary constructs of a feeble human intellect trying desperately to justify an existence that is without meaning or purpose. And all of them as artificial as the Matrix itself. Although only a human mind could invent something as insipid as love. You must be able to see it, Mr. Anderson. You must know it by now. You can't win. It's pointless to keep fighting. Why, Mr. Anderson? Why? Why do you persist?
Because I choose to.